whatever, everyone gets busy. But I just do want to just first welcome everybody. I think the response we got on GroupMe and just all of you being here is just a testament to this community, that we're all willing to learn from one another and hear each other out. And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I also want to say that first of all, it's nice that it's a smaller group. I was actually expecting more students to join. I always try not to say girls because we're trying to be all inclusive, but you girls are here. We were expecting it to be more, but for the sake of organization, I'll speak with Sarah, and then Molly expressed that she wants to say a couple of words, and so happy she's here because we thought she might be a little late. And then anyone else, obviously this is a really manageable group. Anyone else, you just, whatever, say, I want to say something, a topic, a discussion, something that you want us to talk about, anything that you want to talk about with each other, of course, we will try to get that done tonight. So anyway, I just also want to say, obviously, we've met all of you individually, or at least for sure, when you applied to be an ambassador. But I just want to reiterate one more time before we get into our discussion. Sorry, we're in Sarah's house. So I just want to say, for me, I have my degree from NYU. I have a master's in nutrition. I had it 20 years ago. I'm embarrassed to say that's how long it's been, but 20 years ago. And I have my master's in nutrition, and I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist. And I do, a little bit later, I'm going to talk about, that's a long time ago, and things have changed. And I have to change with the times because things are different now than they were then. So, but this is something I wanted to do when I was your age. So, and Sarah was going to tell her story a little bit, but Sarah, a little bit later in life, got certified in holistic health. I want her to say it. I don't want to say it for her. And plant-based nutrition. But we are in this field. We've been working in this field for many, many years. Did I leave out something about it?
No, I just wanted to mention that I graduated with a business degree from GW. And then I went and I had children, I stopped working. And when my last child was born, I decided to go back to school. And I can get into the reasons why later, but my certification is in holistic health, and then I got another certification in plant-based nutrition. And my kids just got home, sorry. So I've been working in Port Washington for about 10 years now in my new field that I was excited to go into later in life. So just getting back to you guys are in, deciding what majors you want and what path to choose, and it can cause a lot of anxiety. There's so many different options in life, and you're never trapped in one,
Absolutely.
So,
and by the way, I did do this 20 years ago. No one even knew what a nutritionist was. And I'm not kidding you. People were like, why are you at NYU? For what? And I can't even tell you, because it was so long ago, why I had this interest, because I did. I always thought I was going to go be an MD, or that's what I thought. And then I just kind of fell into NYU nutrition, and it's grown. Obviously, the field has grown so much. So, and I stopped working for a little when I had my children, and I had my RD, and my husband had always said, you have something, go back to it. And I had to take continuing education classes at that time because I had been out of it for five years, So the only reason why we're mentioning that is that we've been doing this for a long time, and we are professionals who we've changed. Maybe we stopped working, but we're here to help you with any of your concerns always. That is the point of this community, besides, sharing our ideas and everything. But we just wanted to make sure that
and a lot of you have reached out to us privately for advice about different sorts of things that you're experiencing, and we're always here for you. So you should know that.
So we felt that was very important to say. And then another thing that we felt that was really important to say was we started the GroupMe chat. So obviously you can all network together and meet one another, which is such a beautiful thing, and share your ideas with one another. And we love that. It's very active, right? And there's a lot of things. I'm telling you, girls, I learn things from you sometimes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to try that bra or sneaker or whatever it is. But we really felt, and obviously you see what's happening at Sarah's house. We're all busy, every one of us. Sometimes we miss things. Sometimes I'm not reading through everything because it's really active, but we did see the conversations that were going on a little while ago, like a week ago, and we really want to talk about this fear of gaining weight and diet culture in general. And it's a very, very important topic for young students. And I mean, that's why we started F the 15 in general. But when we saw that, we're like, we need to have a personal discussion. This is important. So that being said, I'm going to let Sarah talk in 1 second because I want her to talk about our mission and everything. But I just want to say, and I know I've said this to all before when we spoke individually, but when we started F the 15, it wasn't about literally gaining 15 pounds in college, even though obviously freshman 15, everyone's like, I don't want to gain the freshman 15. It was really about the weight of that phrase. And no pun intended. I always just say that. It's like, oh, you're going to college, you're going to be unhealthy, like it's impossible. And I think it's ingrained from a very young, early age. Like my 11-year-old knows, like everyone knows what freshman 15 is. And by the way, in my practice, people who are 50 come to me, they're like, I've gained the freshman 15. It's just very synonymous with this fear. And that's why we started F the 15. It wasn't about like, oh no, you don't gain, it's all about weight. It's all about weight. So I feel like we've made that clear when we speak individually, but I just wanted to reiterate it. So
Yeah, so it's not about like, oh, you can't gain weight and like, oh, no gaining weight. It's about, it doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to go off to college and your eating habits and your lifestyle go right down the tube. We can learn from one another. We can inspire one another. And that's why we created this account and have all of our amazing ambassadors, because you guys are the ones who are sharing and inspiring and motivating other college students around the world what you're doing to take care of yourself. Anything from eating healthy, trying a new exercise, how do you de-stress, what do you do for fun, how do you map out your day, all things related to health, your hobbies, relationships with friends. All of these things is what we're about. We're about sharing ideas to help one another do our best and feel our best, not about the weight gain.
Yeah.
So that's really and then, like important.
That's so important to us. And that being said, we want that to come through on the feed. And it can get, listen, there's a lot of us, right? And everyone has different opinions and ideas. But at the end of the day, we want our platform and we really want these points to come through. And this is more about the diet culture that kind of goes on everywhere that we've been hearing, especially with social media, is like, we don't want you to label your body. I wrote it down because it's so important to me. Like, it's about being healthy. As cliche, and we hear this all the time. It's not about being body perfect. It's not about being skinny. It's about having a really, really good relationship with food. It's not about having fears of any foods. That's really important to us. And it's about moving your body, not for the goal. Like, I gotta move because I have to look this way, because of the way it makes you feel. Like the way it makes you feel, or maybe it makes.
And it's because it's healthy. No matter what age you are, no matter what size you are, moving your body is good for you. There's no way to say that it's not. So, I tell my clients all the time, I don't care what your goal is. The first thing, you have to be active. Anything from classes that you like, cycling, yoga, running. A lot of you girls do Orange Theory, jabs, whatever you do that you find enjoyment from, not what your friends tell you to do, but what you find. Even just walking more on campus. You don't even have to,
it doesn't have to be.
But movement is important.
Yeah, I want to touch upon all that, the group mentality, and it's hard. You're in college, so obviously you're surrounded by so many different opinions and people are doing different things. Like, and it's really hard because you're all developing, you're all maturing, like you're young adults, and it's like, you're going to change a lot. We're still changing. So you're going to change, and our kids are changing. And so you have to really this is a wonderful time to find what works for you. And that's what we want the account to be about. And so do you want to talk about we talked about the GroupMe and how wonderful we think it is, but there are a lot of different opinions, right? So there's a lot of different people and different ideas, and that's the point. We share ideas, but there's not one approach fits all. And that is the absolute truth for anyone. Sarah and I don't like the same things sometimes, and we're with each other all the time and have very similar viewpoints, right, but sometimes whatever. And it's such an important point.
Yeah, well, this is this is really what we want you guys to focus on, is learning about yourself and how you feel and how your body reacts to certain foods. Some girls, you know, I don't even want to bring up any kind of like specific diet, but like, you know, girls try all sorts of things, and one might work for one person but not the other. So paying attention to how your body feels is the most important thing. And I just want to share, like, it's not even in our outline, but I feel like it's a good time to share this. You know, Karen and I, like, a takeaway from this is about forming healthy habits, not so much thinking about calorie counting, what you're eating, net carbs, high fiber.
This is a good food. This is a bad food.
Yeah, we're not labeling anything, but daily habits. And if you guys can develop healthy habits, and it's just ingrained in you, and you learn this now, you will do so much better for the rest of your life. You know, instead of spending so much mental time thinking about how do I get in more fiber? How do I eat less carbs? How do I lose the bloat? How do I do this? And just live your life with healthy habits that work for you. That's the end game. You know, what works for you. So, you know, Karen might love yogurt every morning, and that works for her, and it's a healthy, natural food. Wonderful. For me, that might not be the case. I might feel bloated and sick, and I get rash or head fog, whatever it is. So I'm not going to say, she can't tell me, Sarah, if you have a yogurt in the morning, and then you have this, and then you have this, you'll be, you know, better. You know, it's not that way. You have to really pay attention to your body and what works for you, and not get so caught up in your head. But for example, a quick story, but you know, I've had a really difficult month. Personally, August was not good for me. And I guess like last week, Labor Day weekend, I started to feel myself crash physically from all the stress, like signs like I'm very habitual. So I wake up and I drink my water every morning, and then I have my coffee, and then I do my work. I'm like very routine.
She practices what she preaches.
Yeah, I do. I have healthy habits. And last weekend, I couldn't really eat. I couldn't drink a cup of coffee, which I know is like alert, something's going on here. My stress was affecting my health. And I was like feeling bad, like, oh my God, like I want to do my class at 9:30, which I always do, which makes me feel good. That's why I do it. And I just couldn't do it. And I called Karen, and I was crying to her because I was like in a really bad state. And I got 3 kids home now. I don't have an opportunity to just go under the covers. You know, I have to function as a parent. But she told me, she's like, don't even think about exercise. If you can't drink coffee, don't drink coffee. You don't have to do this right now. You have to pay attention to your body and give yourself a break.
She really, and Tara knows this. She preaches that.
Yeah,
but she needed to be reminded.
I needed help.
And,
I wasn't feeling good.
I'm like, you have to listen to your body.
And guess what? I took off 5 days of my routine. And
she was like, this is unheard of. Yeah, and I'm like, who cares?
Yeah, and I feel better. I got better. I got out of it quicker. I didn't gain weight, lose weight. I don't even know because I don't go on a scale. But mentally, I felt better. And when you're in a good mental state, you're able to function better and your body doesn't break down. So you have to listen. It's really, really important. And, you know, we are all women on here on this call. And just saying, it's hard. Like we have to juggle a lot. Like as we get older, it's more and more and more and more, you know? So paying attention to yourself so you can function for others is so key.
And there is this whole trend going around about intuitive eating. And it's like, just like the statement, like, what does that mean? What is that? And it's kind of what Sarah just said. You have to be in tune to yourself. And it's really hard. And, you know, Sarah and I were just talking about our credentials. Like sometimes like I learned at NYU really like strict eating. Like this is exchanges and it's really changed now. And I had to change with the times and, you know, that way of thinking. Like we were talking about, you know, you may be hearing a lot about keto. When we were your age, it was all about fat-free. And don't think that we didn't fall into that. I know that Sarah did, and I did too.
This is part of what I wrote about.
Yeah, I just wanted to say this because it's always something. It's always something. It was. I counted fats like whatever. Did I count sugars? No. I didn't count carbs. No. I counted fat. That was what was going on when we were young. It was a big craze.
Everything was made like all
everything fat free. And if it was fat free, and this is before I went to NYU, probably. It was probably when I was
This
in
was
college,
in
like
college. Yeah.
eating SnackWells, fat-free, little, whatever. It had tons of sugar. It was ridiculous, but it was like I was brainwashed by that for whatever the time, for that time. There's always something. And it took us a long time. Obviously, this is our field, and we learned about like, oh, fat-free, yeah, but it has like, 30 grams of sugar. It's not
And
good for your
fat's
body.
not the enemy
And
now.
fat's not the enemy. Like, why am I afraid of fat? And you know what? That took me a long time to really feel that, because I was your age and I was like, oh, fat's the enemy. And because that's, we didn't have social media like you guys. I can only imagine. And that's what, I can't imagine the noise that all of you must feel every day. We can't relate. We're not there. I feel it, and we're in our 40s. I can only imagine how you guys feel. And that's why I really do feel that this community is so important, because there's a lot of noise, and there's all these trends, and there's fake foods, and there's keto, and there's whatever. And I say intuitive eating, like somebody might be like, well, what does that mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, what does all this stuff mean? But the most important thing is really what Sarah said, habits. It's all about habits and what makes you feel good. So we hope that comes off on the feed. We really do. And if we don't, we want to work harder if it may
well,
not.
we're counting on you guys. Like, you guys are in college. You guys are the ones, like, we comb through all your folders and everything that you post when you guys, send us text messages about certain things that you're doing. Like, we want people to come to our account to feel good, to feel safe, to feel that they're accepted for who they are. If they have celiac, that's okay. And we just did a post about pasta, and we showed all different types of pasta, gluten-free pasta, dairy-free pasta dishes, regular pasta dishes. Like, it's okay to eat pasta, and it's okay if you have certain conditions to work around that and enjoy pasta. We want to be a place where girls can come and get inspired and motivated to take care of themselves. And the more that you're doing to take care of yourself that you can show, send our way. We want to put this out. I think this mission is so important. And I think it's important, and we can't believe how many girls are interested in being part of it, and we're so happy, but it gets dicey. And thanks to Molly, like, she actually reached out to us because she had this experience. I'm going to bring Molly in. I'm going to open it up to her. She's a junior now, and she's gone down that road when she was a freshman. Like, that girl posted in our group me like, oh my God, I think I gained 3 pounds. I'm headed down as a spiral. Like, what do you guys do? And then everyone was so kind and like gave suggestions that worked for them.
Yeah.
However, going back to learning about yourself, and if Molly, you want to share your experience?
Yeah, so just the reason I reached out to them was like, I just feel like I love the GroupMe. I think it's really great. I learned so much from it. Like, I learned what jabs was, and now like that's one of my favorite things. But I do feel like sometimes the reason I reached out to them is because I know that they are professionals. And I feel like sometimes people use the GroupMe for advice, which is totally normal, totally fine. But when it's advice about stuff as serious as weight gain and worrying about that, I just felt like a lot of people were giving their own advice, like they were saying, but not thinking about the fact that like the person reading that might really take that for what it is and not really think about themselves and like how that could affect them personally. And I feel like it's easy for someone to tell you about their own experience and then you just try it out too, and it's not necessarily going to work for you too. And so I texted them. I was like, I just think it would be better if, like, as professionals, you were able to actually address it, because we're not professionals. We're all college students. We've gone through a lot of stuff that maybe we figured out worked for ourselves, but like that's not going to work for everyone. So with my own experience, the reason I was just a little triggered from the group chat, the GroupMe, because I have been in that place before where I internally was freaking out that I could potentially be gaining weight in college. And because of that fear, after a couple weeks of being a freshman, I really started restricting again. And because I had done that in the past. And when I came home for Thanksgiving, my parents, because they had seen this happen before, were like, what's going on? Like, something's going on. Most people gain weight when they go to college, and that's normal. Like, why did you lose weight? So that was kind of a moment where I was like, I'm not making the most of my college experience because I'm worrying so much about gaining the freshman 15. And so when I came back after Thanksgiving, I kind of was just like, what are ways that I can make my college experience better by not worrying so much about the things that I'm eating and exercising? And like, it's hard because I'm a Group X instructor here at school, like through our campus rec, and I felt like I needed to look a certain way to be a fitness instructor. I was like, they're watching me, they're trying to get certain results, so I should already have those results that they're looking for. And that put a lot of unnecessary pressure on myself. Like, I was just putting that pressure on myself for no reason because they were just there to get a workout and I was just there to motivate them. Like, so then I started to slowly like add more foods back in that I had been restricting. Wasn't until like quarantine that I completely stopped calorie counting, which I have not done since then, which is great. But that was another thing, is like when I did try to lose weight in freshman year, first semester, it was like I felt like I was secretly having to calorie count every little thing that I was doing. And that also was putting extra stress on myself. I was like, oh my God, I hope that person doesn't see that I just put that into my phone, So it just became like this overwhelming thing. And I was like, this is not how I want my college experience to be. And so I just think it's important, like in our group meet, to like, we can talk about our own experiences, but it has to be prefaced that like, this is my experience and this is what worked for me. It may work for you, it may not work for you. And like, that is what I think is really important.
I we really wanted to touch upon that. Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Molly. That
Molly,
was
thank
beautiful.
you.
That was really, really helpful because
And genuine.
and we all, and I'm sure, and we would love to hear from anyone else that wants to speak. I think that it's kind of what Sarah said before. It's like this really gray area because we're putting all this information out there. I mean, we're not, like Molly reached out to us. So many of you have reached out to us. So, and we're going to be honest. Some people have reached out to us and said, this is a lot for me. This is triggering a lot of emotions in me. And we always really honestly take that really seriously. It actually makes us upset because we're like, oh my God, why? What can you share with us? Like, and it's happened, well, like probably less than 5% like of you, but it's happened. And we have to understand things strike people differently. Everyone is different. And so when we have a platform where we're all sharing these opinions and ideas, which is actually beautiful because we've also heard on the other end, oh, I love to see Molly like work out and be like that. And look at her, she's not calorie. Like it can inspire us also. It goes both ways, but there are, I mean, I don't want to have a general discussion about social media, but I think social media in general, like, can trigger a lot of things, and maybe not even just with food. Like sometimes I'll see someone and they'll be on a trip and I'm like, why am I not on a trip? I'm sitting here home and I don't have enough money to go on a trip right now. Or why do they have 3 kids and they look so relaxed and I feel so tired? Like it can trigger, it's not only about like let's be honest, it's not only about eating and lifestyles. It could be about anything. And if you ever feel that way, that's what we mean. We are here for you. And I just want to touch upon one more thing, because Molly said she likes jabs, and we've been hearing through the group me that all of you like jabs, and I'd love to try jabs because it seems amazing. But that's another thing. Like maybe someone doesn't like jabs.
Well, I have to chime in here. A few girls reached out to us privately and said, like, I just don't like it. Like, it's not fun for me. I don't understand what this whole thing is. And I'm going to bring this up, Karen, because I don't know. But in the group me in the beginning, it was all about this diet that F Factor diet. Let's just bring it out there. And I'm sure you guys are all hearing about what's going on. And I know girls on this call have been very involved in it and sending us all of their, F Factor approved food. And Karen and I, from the beginning, we say we're not a platform about promoting any diet. So we stayed true to that. However, there was plenty of stories with the 2020 powder and the macaroni.
Yeah,
and
we sometimes posted that because that's what you girls were using. And
right.
Just like organic powder or whatever, Vega
right.
One
But it
powder.
it was part of a diet,
right.
An unhealthy diet that doesn't work for everybody. And in the group me, it was like the next best thing that was happening. Molly's smiling. Go ahead, Molly, unmute.
Yeah.
No, we had a conversation about this.
Well, yeah, we talked about it. It's just like it's like I said before, like in the group me, I've learned so much, and that like I didn't know about F Factor until people brought it up in the group me, and like since everyone was kind of hyping it up, then I was like, oh, I gotta try it. And like I'm lucky that I only did it for the 2 weeks where like I know it affected other people more, and maybe like actually gave them these horrible like health issues, where luckily like I just tried it for the 2 weeks and I was like, okay, this is not for me. But yeah, I'm just laughing because looking back on it, it was like, well, whatever, I'm just gonna try it. But it could have brought me down this like bad path of restricting again. But luckily, like I was able to recognize that that was not the diet that was gonna work for me. But obviously, everyone's different. So
there's something I want to say too, because this is a personal journey of mine, and I want you guys to, like, if you can hear it from someone else's experience. When I went to college, I was studying business, and I landed my dream job in publishing at People Magazine. I was so happy. And then I was getting married, and I signed up for Weight Watchers. Now, back 20 years ago, Weight Watchers was all about counting points.
And it just recently changed.
It just recently changed. And I literally was like, I only cared about how many points each food was. I don't even give a shit what I was eating. It could have been, I don't even know. It could have been poison. I'm like, oh, it has 2 points. Good.
That was the problem in the beginning with Weight Watchers.
Right. And I did lose weight. I was thin. I was counting points. I was not paying attention to the quality of food I was putting in my body. And I might have been thin, but I certainly didn't feel healthy. And I kind of continued with this. I became lifetime member at 24. I was so proud of myself. And then
I never really knew this about Sarah until recently.
I was like, I was never even heavy, but I wanted to lose weight. Like, you know, you girls like, oh, I'm going to try F Factor. I'm just throwing that diet out. Anyway, I had 4 children, and you know, every time I lost the weight afterwards, I never had a weight issue but I wasn't eating healthy foods. I was still with this point mentality. And it wasn't until after I had my daughter that I was like, I just don't feel good. Like, what am I mean, I had these crazy, you know, rituals, habits. That's why at the end, we want to talk about forming healthy habits and what does that actually mean. It's easy for us to say, oh, just focus on habits. What the hell habits? We're going to tell you what kind of habits to focus on. But I had these habits of like, no matter what, every night before I went to sleep, I would have, I swear to God, a Swiss Miss 15-calorie hot chocolate. No, and one of those 100-calorie fake brownie things that I bought at Wallbound.
And fat-free whipped cream.
Yeah, but this was like, it doesn't matter what my day was like. This is how I ended my day. And then I started, like, once I had children and I was feeding my kids, I'm like, what the heck am I doing? And I went back and I got a degree in holistic health, which looks at health in the whole. You know, it's not the scientific stuff behind it. It's all about, I mean, I have clients, and I want to say this, like, just because you run, you know, 5 miles a day and drink your water and eat your kale doesn't mean you're healthy. You might be going to sleep with somebody that makes you sick and gives you a stomach ache. You might have a bad relationship with your mother. You might be fighting with your friends. You might, you know, there's all sorts of things that affect your health. You know, just like last week when I had my breakdown, it was like stress. It wasn't like anything I was doing or eating or, lacking in some nutrients. It was stress. So that's what a holistic approach means. But I want you guys to not be so concerned about counting calories, counting net carbs.
And I also think, I think this notion of a quick fix, we got to get rid of that notion. Of course, like you want a quick, and I think we're used to having things quick. I mean, I always tell my kids this, like, if I heard a song on the radio, I had to wait a really long time to get that like record or something. And now it's like this, it's instant. And sometimes that happens to us with, I feel yucky, I feel bloated, I'm going to go a quick fix. I'm going to, I'm not going to use that diet, any diet, it doesn't matter. And product. And it's not just the F Factor 2020 powder, although that is in the media and Molly mentioned it about their side effects that go with it. Personally, I think if you use anything 10 times a day, there would be side effects with it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I've never heard of anything. So, I mean, I'm not putting anything, I can't tell you how many times people come to me with all sorts of products and diets, not just the 2020 powder, although that has been amongst your age group mentioned a lot. And, we're just being
Does anybody
honest.
Want to share their experience
Yeah.
with it? Because so many people in the group me shared their positive experience with F Factor. And now there's all this stuff that's coming out. I don't know if you guys are aware of what's going on social media about it, but everyone just went, all of our ambassadors went silence on the 2020. Like nobody even talks about F Factor approved
and
Tanya the Queen.
And we got called, and F the 15 got called out. I don't know. Did you guys notice that? Did you realize? So we got called out by a couple of people because I guess, I don't even know how long ago, we had posted a shake. And to be honest, it was just a beautiful picture. And we were like, this is a beautiful shake. And we're not against using protein powder. I use Orgain a lot, like probably not every day, but
I use Vega One.
Or Vega One or Orgain, whatever. I'm not against it, but I think what I said, it got excessive and it became quick fix. And I think that if I did Orgain or Vega One, I'd probably be on the bathroom. I don't know. You can't ever do a product that's processed like that excessively. But we got called out. Like people have been writing us in our DMs, and like that person that's against F Factor, I don't want to get into the drama of it, was like, hey, why are you putting this on your feed? Like, that's unhealthy, whatever. And we put out a statement saying, I don't know if
not just
that, like about all products that are processed, but that we kind of promote, we didn't promote it, we kind of just put a recipe out there, but we got called out for it. And what we want to stress to you is we take responsibility for that. Like, we did put it out there, and you know what? There were times where Sarah and I were like, we don't want to make it about a diet, because that is a diet. But that's what you guys were doing. And it is a protein powder, right? I mean, I'm not saying some of my clients use protein powders. So, but we put out a statement saying, we're so sorry if this caused any distress to anyone. Obviously, this is all speculation, but we just want to make everyone aware that this is happening right now. So anyway, we do want to say that.
Does anybody want to share?
Yeah, now let's open up the floor. Anyone that wants to talk about, it doesn't have to be about F Factor or the products. It could be about anything that you want to bring up, and we're here to talk. But I don't know where Sarah went. She's taking the dog out. But yeah, does anyone have anything to share? Did anyone have any use F Factor
experience with the powders?
Yeah.
Actually, for my whole junior year, for my breakfast in the morning, I was always so rushed, so busy, and I did competition dance up until like last year. I'm a freshman now in college, and so I would always just have these shakes because my mom would make them for me. They were fast, they were easy. Always like this new powder, this new craze, and I would feel so sick every time after drinking them. And I don't understand why all these girls say it's great, that like this is supposed to make my stomach flatter, and I'm really bloated and I don't feel well. And with the crackers, I had the same issue, and so did my mom. And we actually decided we had to throw it out of the entire house, get rid of all the F Factor products. And it took a couple weeks, but our stomachs like finally started to feel better.
Yeah. I think that
I just want to make a point. Like, I think a high fiber diet is amazing and super healthy, but with natural foods, and most of you guys eat fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and that's enough. Anything in excess, like eating whole
Anything.
grains and then adding 20 grams of fiber to your smoothie and then putting it into your soup at night or whatever you mix it in, banana bread, whatever she had going, is too much.
And also, I in the beginning of my career, I worked at gyms for a little bit, and I would see that, forget about fiber, I would see that with protein, like protein powder.
Excessive protein.
And I was like, you can get this from food. Why are your kidneys are going to be shot? Your kidneys can't handle all that fake protein like that. So, now, like we said, it's always something, right? It used to be fat-free, then it was like the Weight Watch. Like, it's not about attacking one thing, but that had been something that we had seen, and it really wasn't even about the product per se or the crackers, because I guess if you love those crackers, but having 12 of them, I mean, I don't think you should be having 12 of any one food in your diet. It's unheard of to me, and I saw it a lot, not just in our community, with clients that are my age. Like, people were doing it because this notion that it was going to get you, I think that it was going to like get you body perfect, and that it was easy, and that it was, and that it's going to fill you up, and it was just so excessive. And we don't want you to go down that path with any product, anything, even bars, even the bars. People always, even the Built bars. The Built bars are delicious. We all love the Built bars. I wouldn't want you to have 5 of them a day. Well, you need to focus on other whole natural foods. Maybe 1 a day when you need it, if you're on the run. And even with the shake, like, I guess it's okay to try it, and you have to listen to your body. But there are a lot of people that were doing it, 4, 5, 6 times. It's so excessive. And it was, and we had noticed it. And, like we said, it gets into this weird like, what do we say? We don't want to look like we're against a product or not.
But it was interesting to see that in the group meet, it just went silent. Like, nobody, all of a sudden, there was nothing tagging F Factor.
Well, it's very
I know, but
right
nobody
now.
even said, like, they were very open to talk about it in the group meet, that it was the best thing ever. And then all of a sudden, nobody even said a word about it. It was just kind of like that. So we're bringing it to your attention, like, and we want to hear, like, thank you for sharing,
Thank
Ari,
you.
because like that, a lot of people had that experience. Another thing I want to mention, so I'm certified in plant-based nutrition, but I'm not vegan. However, I know my body type and I know what I enjoy eating. And I didn't eat any animal protein today. I don't count my grams of protein. I don't see food like that. I just try to eat balanced.
I don't either,
and what works for, my energy level and what works for me. And that's just because, like, again, with the quick fix, like, if you have a roommate who's doing intermittent fasting, like, there's nothing wrong with intermittent fasting if it works for your body and you feel good that way, but that doesn't mean like, oh, in order to not gain the freshman 15, I'm going to do intermittent fasting, or I'm just going to limit and have like no snacks for the week. Like, maybe some people feel good eating every 2-3 hours. Maybe some people feel good eating 3 meals a day with no snacks. Try your best to like learn about yourself.
But
take this opportunity, like Molly did, and had friends and family support her during that time to like figure out what works best for you. I know Maddie, I'm just going to bring you up because Maddie lives in my town, and I know her mother, and she, also had her experiences through high school. She did a share about it on our platform, so I feel comfortable talking. Maddie, you're listening? Talking about
yeah, I was on mute, but yeah. You can keep going.
So she, we talked, I see her in my town. I love her. We see each other a lot. And she said, like, I really had to learn what works for my body, because she went down a bad slope too. She restricted herself. She was eating, forget about it. And, and she communicates with us privately, with things with GroupMe, and she reads all of this, like, oh, I love jabs. I love this diet. I love that diet. And Maddie, why don't you say about yourself?
We have to just reiterate one time, because it really, I know I've said it before, but yes, of course. And it, and I hate sometimes I hate the expression easier said than done, because it's like, so whatever, but you are in I know it's a little bit strange now with COVID and all this, but you're in a group mentality, right? You're in college, and there's social media. It's so hard to learn this. That's why we just keep talking about it. And you know what? You may even struggle with it after this conversation, because like just saying it doesn't mean it's easy to do, because like what we were saying, if everyone's doing F Factor, why not I try F Factor? If everyone's doing jabs, but like I was telling
Why
Sarah,
don't I like
yeah,
it?
and I was telling Sarah, like, and this is whatever from my own personal experience, Soul Cycle. Okay, I have tried to love Soul Cycle since forever. I want to be part of that cult. Everyone's like, not just because of my clients, it's changed my life. I love it. I go there, I feel so mentally free, and I love the way they yell at me. I swear, I really try. I think I've tried 4 times to be like, and I pretend to like it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm like, I like it. And I get up at 5:30 in the morning and I go, and I can't express to you. I don't know. I just don't love cycling. I just don't. I want to. And I fell into it, not because of clients, and Sarah's not even really a soul cycler.
I never went.
But I have so many friends. You gotta go. You gotta go. It's amazing. You're gonna feel amazing. You're gonna feel like a new person. You're gonna feel great. And I'm like, really? I gotta go. And I think I've tried 3 times to be that person, to be that soul cycler. And my point is I'm an adult, and it's like, I was falling into this, and I think there was a time I was pretending that I liked it, and I was like, I love Soul Cycle, like it makes me feel good. And it's not that it's not, and it has worked amazing. Some people it's changed, like one of my friends, she's not a client, it changed her whole life. She feels great. She loves it. Mentally, she feels better. But so this group, girl, especially with young women and women in general, I think we can attest to that. It's always about that. And it takes a lot to break away from that and be like, you know what? You like Soul Cycle. It's not for me. I like to run.
Yeah. Can I open it up? Maddie, can you just share your experience quickly? Because I think it'll be helpful.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've shared on the F the 15 story for Saturday share, but in the past 5 years, like I've had a lot of weight fluctuation, and I've had a lot of like things that worked for me, things that didn't work for me. I've restricted myself. I've gone crazy in working out and have had injuries from it. And like, I think that it took me like 4 or 5 years to really get to know my body and understand what works for me. And like the most important thing that I've learned like throughout like my journey, and like obviously I'm still learning, but like everything in moderation. Like pizza is my favorite food. Like I have pizza 3 times a week. Like she's my roommate. I make pizza every single night. Like I have, like, I've just learned that like I need to do what satisfies me and satisfies my body. And like I've also learned that like I'm not the type of person that does well with workout classes on a screen, and it doesn't work for me. And I'm not fast enough to like work with like I've tried like Peloton classes and other classes on my computer, and that's just not what works for me. So here at school, like I go for runs, I go for walks, I take advantage of the nice weather while I have it, because I'm in Syracuse, so I don't have it for much longer. But yeah, I think it's just important to like try new things, and if it doesn't work for you, like you shouldn't stress about it, and you shouldn't force yourself to do something that doesn't work for you. There's so many like options out there, and so many different ways to like stay healthy, like mentally and physically, that like what works for me won't exactly work for you. And I think that that's like always important to remember. Like, yeah, like I remember like my freshman year of school, like I gained a lot of weight, and like I was really upset about it, but there were girls who were eating just as much as me and not working out just as much as me, and like they weren't gaining weight, and I was really confused, and it like stirred up like jealousy in me, and like it wasn't a good way to like live. It wasn't mentally healthy. And then I went on like a strict like intermittent fasting, and like that didn't work for me either, because I was like almost fainting in class because I hadn't eaten yet and I had no energy. Like there's so many things that like you just have to, it's like trial and error. Like you just have to like figure out what works for you.
Right. I really admire that. And I think it's very mature of you, because, and she was honest, it took her 5 years and she's still learning about herself.
Yeah, we're always evolving.
Right. But the important thing about this message that Maddie's sharing is that she is learning to accept who she is, and accept that, oh, I don't find online classes, group classes, like fun, and it doesn't work for me.
Right.
I don't find like, intermittent fasting, like that doesn't work for me. And she's kind to herself. She doesn't like, it's no negative talk anymore. She's learning to.
But it took you.
It took a while. It's a practice.
And you know what? You may have to learn it again, relearn it again in another area of life. Like it's always evolving, and that's why this is so important to us. And we're gonna, this is so.
Does anyone else have anything that they'd like to share? Emily, I see you.
Yeah.
there.
I think we also have to realize that like a lot of us do have like accounts, like Instagrams on like health and wellness and all this stuff. And like, I think that people find us from like F the 15 and stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that like social media is a highlight reel. Like a lot of people just post their best selves. So when people are just posting that they're having a 10-mile walk, and girls in college are like, wait, why didn't I walk 10 miles today? Like that's not everyone's reality. So like, I think people also have to be like aware of what they put on their account. Like if you're only eating, like I spoke about this on my account, but if you're only eating like half of the banana because you don't want to eat the full banana, and because maybe you're too full to have it, you shouldn't post like, oh, it's too many carbs, I don't want to have the full banana. You don't need to like explain that, I feel like, because then in people's mind they're like, I was eating oatmeal with a banana in the morning, that's like oatmeal and like banana, whatever. I'm like, what? Like, why is she saying it's too many carbs? Like people like overthink that kind of stuff. So like, I think that like, I have realized that people only post like their best selves and stuff. And like, I try to like be honest with my followers and stuff. And I try to like always just like be real, because I think that like in reality, no one's perfect. Like, and being healthy, like you said, it doesn't necessarily mean like eating all this stuff. It could be also like having a balanced diet, having a balanced thing.
And whole, like what Sarah was talking about, holistically, it's not only food. It could be something mentally, like we're anxious. Like right now, we're all in a different kind of, time where you're, we were talking that you were quarantining. Lauren was saying, like it's brings up a lot of anxiety.
We're limited. We're really
so like
limited.
It's not only, and I think it's a really good point. Like, and I think like Sarah and I have to be honest. We have to remind ourselves, like, you're just seeing these snippets on social media, even on our account. And like I said, people have told us that it has triggered them because maybe they see someone. We post a lot about your workouts because we're taking it from you, right? And there's two different ways to look at it. Oh wow, I'm going to motivate. Maddie's going on a walk on campus. I'll go on a walk on campus. But what if you can't? What if you're feeling how Sarah did the other day and you just don't want to go for a walk or something else is going on, and that could trigger you. And that's where, as facilitators of this very important account with this very important message, sometimes I'm like, oh, I hope that this isn't happening. I hope we're not triggering things. And it's hard because of course it's snippets. It's like, that's why sometimes there have been discussions in the group me and I want to say something, but it's, we all understand translation through text, and then we start getting into it. I know we're older, but like, I hate sometimes texting my kids. I'm like, oh, this is just, it's not, my message isn't coming through, the words on the text, like it's not coming through. And so it's really difficult. And yeah, everyone looks perfect on social media, all the filters, all the things, the lighting is perfect in the food, and no one's ever showing anything that they're doing. I mean, now I think there's this trend of everyone being more honest. I think it's beautiful. I love it. Like people are
we always try to, we want to be authentic, but it's funny because we want to grow. We want more followers. We want every college campus to know about our community. And it's happening, but then we hear, we're like, we're old. We're not tech. Maddie's like our tech person over the summer. Like we don't know what's going on half the time. We're trying our best, but they say, oh, the pictures have to be edgy. They have to be this, so then people will like it. And I'm like, but sometimes we're in our dorm room with a paper plate and the lighting's shitty. Like she loves paper plates because that's authentic,
Like I want it to look.
But then it's not going to grab people's attention, and it's all this stuff. But really, we are an authentic community. We want to show ups and downs.
And we want to do more things like this. This is our community. This is like how Molly reached out to us. You can reach out to, you can say that triggered me, Sarah and Karen, and you said that is an issue for, something triggered Molly, and we really appreciate it. It's not that, by the way, and we're not just saying this, we did notice it, we did.
We were very upset.
But we didn't know what to do really, and I think that Molly reaching out to us gave us not that they didn't have courage to do this, but we were like, you know what? Because I think we wanted to write in the group me, like what I was saying. And I was like, nothing, I can't, it's too much. There's too much information. There's too much to discuss. I'm not going to be like, girls. So everyone has a different opinion, and it comes off, in a group me, like it just, our emotions that we're feeling, it's just not coming through the text, So thank you, Molly, for bringing that up. But any of you can reach out to us like that. I mean, a lot of you have, by the way, and we're, and you can tell, and on the group me, obviously not everyone's here. We just hope that message comes through, and that's what this community is about. Okay, so it's about some pictures.
And if you see anything, or if there's something that you're like, you guys, this is a really important subject, we should do a post about this, or maybe we should do a live. Like, can I do a live about this? Like, ask us. We're open to it. We want, you guys are walking the talk and on campus or off campus or living that life, and we've had our experience, but we want this place to be something that is a very safe environment where people feel comfortable, and those triggers don't always come up. We can't control how other people interpret our account, but we want to be as real as possible.
And not only to, like we said, putting whole foods in your body and exercising, it's so important. We believe that. That is our philosophy, but it's also about mental health. And we really do, we don't have to discuss this now, but we want to approach the subject of what everyone's going through right now with COVID, and like how campuses have changed, and everyone we speak to, every school is different. Everybody's interpreting it differently. Like we said, some people are okay, like can do online. Maybe that's really hard for some people. And we kind of want to, that's about your mental health, right? That's about your, being anxious, and we're all feeling that, of course, but we want to approach like we do. So that's something that maybe we can have another
we're going to have
discussion
another
on.
call, because
Yeah.
we've been
Also, kind of like going off of that, like I think like when you go to college, it's such a mental adjustment, but like your body also has to adjust. Like I feel like some people are always like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight, but like you're not eating the same thing that you would eat at home. It's not like a home cooked meal, or if you make it, like you're buying and eating different things. So I also think some people freak out, but like there's no need to. And I think people take that like such to heart, like, oh my God, I'm gonna gain weight, but you're eating different. Your body has to adjust to the community and environment you're in.
Not that, listen, I know, and I always say this, I think individually to everyone, but each year presents different issues, right? You're a freshman, and then you're really adjusting. You've never maybe been away from home, or never fed yourself, maybe, depending on the individual. But then you're a sophomore and you have a kitchen, and you're like, wait, now I have to shop for myself, and I could maybe have more freedom, but how do I do that? Like, it's not just being a freshman, but that, it is, every year is a change. And there's not, listen, once you get, we're changing too, but you fall into a certain routine as you get older. But I think college, it's like, it's always changing. When you're a freshman, then maybe you're in a sorority, or maybe you're not, or maybe you're living, in an apartment with people that eat differently than you. It's just, there's so many things that could come up, and we really want to try to address everything. So that was a very good point.
Right. And again, like going back to the habits, like what kind of like healthy habits are we talking about? We're talking about making sure that you get, at least 7 hours of sleep at night. That's really, really important for your health all around. And if you have trouble sleeping, like I've been having trouble sleeping during this pandemic because of stress and worry, I'm sure a lot of you guys have, then ask professionals, what can I do for my sleep? And there's different apps that you could use, calming teas, natural holistic,
I'll take like magnesium powder sometimes. Now that's not for everyone, but like there are things that like, even if you want to ask us, you can reach out to us.
Waking up in the morning, first thing that you do before coffee, tea, or whatever you drink is drink water. No matter what happens in your life, there's always water around. First thing, it's a good habit to get into now, because we wake up naturally dehydrated. So the first thing you do before your coffee, before your whatever you drink, is drink a glass of water. If you can get into that habit now, like I keep this next to my bed. So in the morning I wake up and I just drink it. Before I even get out of bed, it just becomes a healthy habit. Because if you start hydrating in the morning, you're already flushing out your system, waking up your cells, getting things moving. And hydrating is also good for your brain, right? We need to keep hydrating ourselves to function. So that's a healthy habit.
And another healthy habit that I stress a lot in my practice is preparation. Like just like kind of thinking ahead, like, hey, because I find, especially in school, when you're busy, sometimes it's not on purpose, but you may not have an apple and peanut butter or whatever you have on you, and then you have class and you meet and you're social and then all of a sudden it could be literally from 9 in the morning and it's 4 o'clock and you haven't put one thing into your body, and it's just and it's not on purpose. A lot of times, sometimes people are like, oh, I just got so busy, I didn't have anything with me. So I'm always like, think about that. Be prepared.
Map out your day.
Map out your day. Like we've talked about this on the account, and it's not about like
It's not about obsessing about
not
it
about
either.
obsessing. It's about being like, oh, I love, like when I'm home and I used to come home from high school, I would have an apple and peanut butter, or I would have whatever, like a yogurt with whatever, and just have those things on you so that when so that that amount of hours, that's like 7 hours where you're not nutricizing your body. And then what happens? Like you don't feel well.
You're get hangry.
Your mood changes and all sorts of things. And it's just not, it's a very healthy habit to be like, you know what? I always want to have these things on me or be prepared, because just in case like I'm running late, or like that's a big one for me, because I thought that once I hit that point, it's just like all bets are off. Like I just don't care what I have. I don't feel good. If I do eat, I could even eat something really healthy. I feel bloated, because you hadn't eaten for many, many hours. That's a very important habit that I always stress.
Sleep, starting your day with water, and actually hydrating throughout the day is important no matter what. Mapping out your day and preparing,
finding snacks that you do love.
Yeah,
like we were talking things that you love.
Give into your cravings. Not like Maddie's not having pizza 7 days a week. She said she's having pizza 3 days a week. So she understands that. She gives into her habit. Another thing
finding movement that you love.
Finding movement that you love is key, because for mental health, movement is so important, and everyone's body is different. Why are you laughing, Maddie? I see you're holding in a laugh.
Well, I eat pizza like 7 days a week.
Okay, so let's be real too. Being real is a healthy habit. Okay,
that's good.
I make them on like English muffins, and I like cook them in my. They're small pizzas, but I need a pizza almost every single day.
Okay, so that's like a healthy habit too. Like she takes the food and she kind of upgrades the quality. Instead of eating like a thick piece of dough with tons and tons of cheese, she makes it like a little bit lighter, healthier.
You can add vegetables on top of it.
To it. Upgrade.
That's how I eat pizza. I just put tons of veggies on it. Like now it's
that's what we do. Sometimes we'll buy like gluten-free crust from Trader Joe's, and then we'll like fill it with like spinach and veggies and like
to me that's
everything. It's so good.
That's delicious. That's healthy. So that's another point. Maybe find things that you love and experiment and with different ways.
Give into your
cravings, but maybe make them different ways.
Right, or modify the portions of it, because sometimes like I crave ice cream, but I don't think it's healthy to have ice cream every single day. It's just not. Like that's not a healthy food to have every single day. But if you have a smaller portion or whatever, then it's fine. Another healthy habit is to really try to eat balanced meals, and to not over focus on like getting in your proteins or getting in your fiber. Again, with the plant-based nutrition, you can get enough protein from eating vegetables, believe it or not. Like we don't have to have protein in excess. That's like a false kind of myth that you have to have all this protein. Yes, you need to eat protein, but proteins in broccoli, proteins in avocados, proteins in lots of different vegetables, in quinoa, not
I think that goes for any food group. Like we were talking about fiber before, protein, carbs, like just eat balance and it'll work. Like most likely it'll balance out in the end of the day. Right. Believe me, it will. That's what I try to teach my clients. Like we don't have to, this idea, this notion of food fear, like we were talking, Emily, about bananas and, oh, you can only have half a banana, like, look, there are some people they really do calorie count like that because like talking about NYU nutrition, half a banana was a serving size of a fruit. Like, I think if you look it up in like the ADA, like that's what it is. It just, like, so like, it's been like, even in me sometimes, like that's how we learned. We were like, one slice of bread is 15 grams of carbs. Don't go over that. And there's certain exchanges that we learned, and that's like ingrained in you. And then you get these fears like, oh, I can't have a whole banana because that's more than the serving size. And it's how is it having a bit like banana bad for you, or how, it's just, you have to get away from those fears, like, and they're different for everybody. Like, that's what I was taught 20 years ago. So sometimes I can still find myself thinking like that. It's, I actually have trained myself when I don't, and I teach people not to, but it's in there because I that's what I learned. And when I hear someone else saying it, I go, oh, you know what, they're probably my age. They learned the same way I did. And probably Weight Watchers, sometimes you think of points still, and sometimes, I've really gotten away from that fat free stuff, but took me forever. So it's just like you've got to work on it. And that's a habit, just working on it, working on positive talk to yourself, or reaching out to someone, like, and that's what we were talking about with Molly, like a professional. It can be Sarah and I, or it could be whoever you find.
And since like we have like close to 300 ambassadors, and not everybody's on this call, obviously, and you guys are, if someone chimes in about something that you feel is like an unhealthy habit forming, or something like Molly, like she noticed like she's gaining a few pounds and she's already worried about that, like few pounds, and then someone chimed in like, don't worry about it, like weight fluctuates every day, like don't get yourself caught up in about it. But we're not watching that group me as much as you guys are, but chime in and say, hey, ask a professional, because we don't want anybody to be triggered and go down a bad road with that side. I mean, it's one thing girls are asking about, like, oh, what's a playlist, or does anybody have this recipe or whatever, like that's all great, and we don't want to censor this platform, but there is that line. And thank you, Molly, for opening up your mouth and going out there and putting yourself out there, saying that, hey, she's like, I love F the 15, but I don't love this.
Yeah, well, that's the point, because sometimes it's so playful, and then it got, it went in that direction, and it is hard to monitor, and it's difficult, and we are the first ones to admit, like, oh my God, we may have missed that, or wow, we didn't know how to approach it.
We're learning.
We're learning. Like, we'll always take responsibility for that stuff. When you have a platform this big with this many young students, and this is your time where you're developing. We can mess up. We make mistakes, and we want to, that's why it's so important that we speak to you, and we hope we want to keep this
Lauren,
up.
we want to open this up. So if anybody has questions, because it is now after an hour.
I think that the Saturday shares are really important, and I think they're beneficial, because I think giving the other side to someone's story, because you can just see a picture and be like, wow, good for her. But then going back to the 5 years and all of that, like, I think it's so good that you guys share like the rich details behind it. Because a lot of the time it's like, transformation, I went keto, transformation, I work out, and there's no real story or timeline behind it. And I think that doing that once a week, and maybe some other way to share something like that, could be beneficial for the future. Because I feel like seeing that on the weekend, you're just like, wow, this person is changing their life day by day, and maybe it's not a drastic change, maybe it's just a mentality change. It really just depends. And I think seeing that like in the middle of my weekend has just been super beneficial, whether it's before like you go out with friends, or before you start the week off, like just getting in a better mindset, I think has just been really nice to see that. So thank you guys for sharing this.
Well, really
we're happy to hear that. We were like, maybe we should.
Because I was like, we should do a Saturday share, and then it became a thing, and it's really wonderful to see.
We're glad you like it. Anybody else have anything they want to share? Anything
off that?
What's that?
Are you not doing the lives anymore? The Sunday lives?
Okay, we want to bring this up. Like, I'm glad you mentioned that. So the lives, like, we experienced that, and like we tried it out, and some people joined, some people didn't. But we have like this idea, which we spoke to you about it, about talking about different schools and experiences at the school. And then we also have this other live that we want to talk about the different experiences during this COVID and what college looks like. So for kids, like we have so many new ambassadors are like, I'm a freshman at American, but I'm sitting in my apartment in New York City. They can't even go for their freshman year. And then some people are in an apartment on campus. Some people, like Lauren, you're in a dorm as a freshman on campus.
Some people are in apartments, and it's not even, their school's not even open, but they're on campus. Or like Erica, I think. Erica, where is she? Oh yeah, you're in an apartment, but it's all online.
Yeah.
You could be at home. So what is that experience like? Like,
Yeah.
do you think that's a good live? Like, what were you saying about the live, Maddie?
No, I was listening to Lauren speak, and it's the Saturday. I love the Saturday shares. Like, I think that they're great. I think that they're one of the more personal things that our community does and like shares with other people and each other. And I just think that's just another way to interact. Like, I love the takeovers and the Saturday shares. And then I remember like Avery and I did a
Yeah.
Sunday live last year, and then like I don't know, like I feel like they just like
I think that I think it was going well, but so that's so interesting because we had to come up with rules because there was a time we did a live, remember, and like that's giving you guys and I feel like we did a live and someone said something on the live and people were like that we didn't know how to monitor it.
They were talking about diets.
They were talking about diets. I don't want to say anything too much, but it was what we're talking about. It triggered someone, and that's going to happen, like when people talk. And so it's like a little bit like we want an honest discussion, and then it gets like, obviously even the takeovers, we're giving you, the students, you young, the platform to show us what you do. And sometimes it can be triggering. I think that happened like twice, and we were like, oh, we've got to figure out, not that we don't want them, how to monitor it a little bit.
What about considering doing, I don't know exactly how IGTVs work. I don't know if you record them and then you upload them, or they like, I don't know how they work, but like that could also be a possibility of doing something similar. Like people who like can share like COVID experiences, dorm experiences right now through COVID, like we're living in an apartment.
We should do three different live IGTVs. One with like a freshman in a dorm room with all these limitations and like how they're surviving as a freshman, trying to make friends. It's really hard to make friends. There's no clubs, there's no groups, there's no Zoom rush. Then like an upperclassman who's on campus in an apartment, and then there's like campuses that are closed that they're living either at home or in an apartment, but also
is that interesting? Like, would you guys like
the
that,
different
like,
experiences of that?
I just think it's like another really great way to interact. Those are the three types of people right now that would be watching
like when you do
and I think that
you do an IGTV, it's just kind of, it's not as interactive as a live. It's
right.
Could do like a live with like, even if like me and Maddie went live with maybe like a freshman at Syracuse, and then if we like tell our friends, they tell their friends, it can almost be more of like a discussion base, and then like
like freshmen.
Wait, going off the freshman, I know Reese just left, but isn't she a freshman at Syracuse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say she just left, but I know she's a freshman.
Yeah.
So the three of us could also all, like the four of us could all do it.
Yeah, the four of you could.
That would be really.
We have four
cool.
girls from Syracuse, I noticed, and everyone's trying to get off right now. So
I know.
maybe we should wrap
I
it
was
up.
just thinking IGTV because I think it's like it can be interactive and like very helpful, and you can also censor it more because we
could do something like
watch it before, so make sure it's not talking about diets or anything else that you think could be triggering.
And the problem with some of the lives, and that's the honest truth of the matter. But this is like a live, and we could record it, and then we could put it on IGTV. You know what I mean? Right? We admit we're not technical, but like this is recording.
Do you think that topic is good though? Like, what do you think is an intriguing topic for you guys? Like, what would you want to tune into?
I think it might be interesting to hear from you guys about your, I think something that was really helpful in this Zoom call is like you guys were talking about your mission of what F the 15 is. And I think like a lot of people associate it with like diet culture. And like, I feel like that's from this call, like that's not what it is. And like, you guys are like more holistic thinking about the whole balance of college and mental health. But I like recently got a DM and they were like, if you're so anti-diet, like why are you an F the 15 ambassador? And I had to explain like that's not, like it made me kind of sad. I'm like, that's not what this is. But like to them, it kind of I guess it comes off like that to them. And I was like, I think it would be beneficial if you guys like talked about what your mission is and like what your credentials are. And not that credentials like have to be a part of it, but I think a lot of people don't realize that like it's not just college students that are running this account. Like it's we are having like we have you guys to kind of guide us through, and like from this whole Zoom we learned so much from you guys about just like ways to have healthy habits in college. And it's like I think some people only like focus on the like little things that they see on the stories and are not looking at like the fact that it's everything in college.
Do you think that it's the title? Because we've gotten this from random people that I swear didn't even look through the feed, because we can tell by their DMs, like they just see F the freshman 15, and maybe that's a trigger for them, like, which is, I understand that too. Do you like, but then I have other people that I can think, oh, I love that. You know, we just thought of that because we're like, oh, we like, yeah, like F the freshman 15. We don't want to talk about that anymore. But I think I think that could be a trigger. And I've always wondered how you girls feel about it.
Molly, did your friend who said that to you, like, why are you an ambassador for F the 15 if you're anti-diet? Does she comb through our account? Like, does she see?
It was not. It was, so when I put up a story on my account of like my F Factor experience, it's not my friend. I don't know who it is. The person doesn't even follow my account. They just saw my story about it.
I didn't know you said something. Good for you.
Yeah, I responded because it just was kind of like, it made me think about it. And I was like, to me, I know you guys, and I know that that's not your mission, is to make people feel like they need to be on a diet in college. But I think that with the name, maybe even just doing a post about like what the name means and like how, because I think some people take it very differently. I think some people it's like, okay, F worrying about the freshman 15. Whereas other people are like, okay, I guess I can't gain weight in college.
But we did do a post.
Well,
about
we've done
all
it plenty
those
of times,
things.
but
yeah.
like we missed your post. Like it's like for a day, like a story that goes away. But we have heard that a couple of times, but we've also heard it the other way. It's like what we were talking about. So many different, like, oh, I love that name and I agree with you and I get it. Like F that, like, you know.
Or maybe nothing like, it doesn't need to be a post about like the name of it, but just something about how like how you guys started it and why you started it and like what the people are part of it.
We've been talking about this for so long, and it's a little journey of ours, but our new website is up. So it's just a shell. It has no information. It's just kind of like a landing page.
But look at it.
Go
Tell us
look
what you
at
think
it.
and write to us.
Tell us your comments, because it's not done. We don't have the information on there yet. But if you see all the school logos,
and we put our mission on.
That's why I said that.
Yeah.
On our website, there's a mission, and it's really kind of cool. I think I like it, but if you don't like it, we want to hear. We want your feedback. So go to fthe15.com. Go on your laptop though, because I don't really love the phone version of it, but so you could see it in whole. But we have a whole thing about our mission statement, which explains that, Molly, and it also has you'll see like each school's logo, and our goal is for other students, like incoming, freshmen or transfer students that are looking at different schools, to come to our account to see what the health culture is like at their school. Where are the best, healthiest places to eat?
And it's going to come from you.
And it's going to come from students. So it's going to be.
It looks great on the phone.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It looks great on the phone.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool?
Yeah, I just went on to the
That was our
Instagram.
quarantine project. You have no idea.
I know.
really good.
Remember, I was in the backyard. You were telling me all about it.
Oh my God, we were dying. We just wanted this
Oh
certain
yeah, Maddie,
vibe.
that's right.
Yeah.
You guys showed me so many different layouts for the website.
It took us a long time.
We kind of really like the vibe of it. We have to get more information on there. We want to have
a lot more work.
like if you
But
see
the layout is very nice. And if you two don't like the layout of the way that it looks on the phone, then you should probably switch it around, because most people will go onto the Instagram on their phones and go get on the website to your bio.
What do you guys think of the layout on the phone though? 'Cause you could send
I like it. I haven't pressed around on anything yet.
there's not much
There's not, but
Yeah. So
explore. And by the way, this is
But I think it looks great.
suggestions or
If you want to help work on
and,
it, like let us
the
know.
cool thing about each icon is like if you press on Syracuse, it'll be a picture of Avery and Maddie and kind of your ideas
Sydney,
of like
yeah.
and yeah.
Oh, it's so cute. I like it.
But it's a work in progress. But
Right. This is,
but
but we
we're-
really want
but
it to be a resource.
I
too.
appreciate what Molly said about F the Freshman 15 because
Yeah.
that like it's kind of like I guess it's kind of funny because it definitely like people react to it. Either people are like I love it, or people are like, oh, that's like that, I don't like that name. But like someone like my husband who's always chiming in on business for Sarah and I, we call him like her.
He's our CEO.
Yeah, he's like, I love it because it causes discussion, and that's if we were like college health, come to the college health account, wellness for school, like everyone would be like, okay, like, and so it's bringing people to us, and that's what we want, right? So I do think I don't
We
know
have
if you
to
guys
explain.
remember if we had we used to have Founders Friday
Yeah.
where we would be on it, and we kind of like lost that momentum because
Well, it was pandemic too. So
yeah, and
we
we're
wanted to
on life, but like where we could kind of put our viewpoints out every Friday and kind of talk about that. So maybe
can
that's
go
something
back to
we'll
that.
I was gonna bring that up actually. I was gonna ask you if you were still doing that because like that was something I really liked, and like I just look forward to like the end of the week, and like I was like, oh, it's like Thursday night, so like Friday's Founders Friday. Like I just really like hearing from you.
We didn't know if you
we
liked
actually
it.
loved doing it. It was just like I guess we found it to be pressure filled because we didn't have a schedule. I know what we were talking about. Like we weren't like we were like, what do we want to do and what message?
And we want to like Founders Friday is a place for us to talk about topics you're interested in. So if there's something that you're
But
interested,
maybe the next
like,
Founders Friday will just be like the mission of like what we just talked about, because maybe
Yeah,
some
maybe we
people
should
don't
do
know
that.
that. And
Like getting to know the founders, maybe like behind the scenes, like getting to know you guys because it
yeah,
grown so much.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
just like talking about your background was like so
About
interesting.
our college experience, like we're laughing.
Mhm.
It's like embarrassing how long ago it was. Like we have children your age, so it was a really long time ago. But like I don't know if that helped, but we had our own.
I just have to
that,
tell you
you know,
guys this because I'm
obstacles.
thinking about it now. When I went to GW, so sophomore year, I moved into an apartment, but it's like next to a dorm because it's city life. And we used to, I swear, it was so cheap. We go food shopping and just buy boxes, like $1.99 of like Ronzoni pasta. And then we would make sure to buy fat-free tomato sauce and fat-free Parmesan cheese. And we would eat a whole
Yeah.
damn box of freaking pasta.
Yeah,
And
I
that
did
was
the
like-
same kind of stuff.
It was fat-free. And then we would go get
All
bagels,
fat-free.
scoop it out, and then put fat-free cream cheese in it.
Fat-free
And
cheese
then-
was my big thing too in
That's what-
college,
that's
and
what I
that's
did in my dorm.
disgusting. I cannot
Exact-
believe I ingested that. It's
What,
chemical.
which one?
That exact same story happened to my dad in college. He said that him and his roommates would make like their pasta with their fat-free sauce, and they ate it for like every meal for like 3 weeks. And they started gaining weight, and they were like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And it was because of it just being fat-free, but like not actually healthy.
Age when you're doing
Yeah,
the
like we
fat-free
used
stuff.
to eat like big things of Tasty Delight. Like it was like that. I don't know if you,
Oh,
your parents
oh,
talk about
Tasty Delight.
Tasty
and
Delight.
cool and fat-free
Oh
Cool
my
Whip,
God,
like
sick.
just plain, just eating
Yeah,
it out.
I
I mean,
mean-
listen, but yeah, but that is interesting because it just shows that these trends and obstacles have always been presented, maybe more now than ever because there's just so much more information out there.
I want to also say, because Karen and I were talking about this in our practice, and that's why nutrition is like, there's so much information, and every day there's a new study that came out. You know, a new study that
like
comes out.
apples are good. Apples are, I mean, it could be
Right.
apples. Wine is wonderful for you. It prevents heart disease.
Right.
Wine is going to cause you to have,
Breast cancer.
breast cancer. Yeah, it's like crazy.
And there's studies that come out and contradict one another all the time. But they're studies, and you want to believe it. Like, oh, they did a study on this, and they said if you're a vegan, it's going to prevent all sorts of disease. And then the next study comes out and says animal protein is very healthy for you, and that's the way we should be eating.
There's
The
just a lot of
paleo diet.
messages.
It's mixed messages. And what you need to take away, and what we keep stressing about this, and it's going to be practice. It's going to take time. This is no quick fix. It's learning about how your body reacts to different things and what makes you feel good. You know, some people feel good eating breakfast at 8 a.m. every morning. Some people are like, I cannot eat until 11. Like, it just doesn't work for me. And that's okay. You know, so it's learning about your body, paying attention to yourself, not going into this group mentality and having to conform to what other people like or what other people
And when
are
you
doing.
feel that that's happening, reach out. And like I said, it doesn't have to be Sarai, although we are here for you, and we hope that you feel comfortable, but it could be anybody. It could be a friend, it could be a parent, or it could be another professional. Just don't fall into that pattern of, you know, of feeling like you don't, like that's the only choice, like, oh, and going like, and following your friends. Or it's hard because I think it still happens when you're an adult. Like
Right.
I'm like, we're the first to admit that it could happen at any age, where you're just like, oh, maybe I should be doing that. Everyone else seems
And
to like it.
and this is like a very fine line too, but I do see that, like, you know, now there's all this momentum about like, fuck diets, like live healthy, eat whatever you want, like get overweight, enjoy your curves, blah, blah, blah. And like, yes, like appreciate your body type. I'm never in my life going to have 6 skinny legs no matter what I do, because that's my body type. I might have skinny arms. People say, oh, you have such good arms. It's genetics. I can't make myself different. Right. However, eating healthy and taking care of your body and taking care of yourself, and even that means a rest day or eating your pizza, makes you feel better. Like, but eating unhealthy, drinking too much alcohol,
Well, yeah,
anything in excess makes you feel bad, right? So there's that fine line with self-care, obsessing about self-care, being too rigid, being too flexible, because if you're too
That's
flexible,
why it gets so
if you're too
confusing.
flexible, you're going to gain a lot of weight, and being overweight, nobody feels good being overweight for your body type. Again, for your body type, not for somebody else's
Or
body
forget
type.
it. I mean, I'm sorry, but there are people that look body perfect, whatever that means, or skinny or healthy, and they're not on the inside. They're eating all crap foods, and that's genetic, and they were blessed that way. I tell girls this all the time: do not look at your friends that are eating pizza for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and are maybe to you, you know, look amazing and body perfect, like they don't have to do anything. What do their insides look like? It doesn't mean, like, you just can't. I don't care that they're doing that, you know, like, okay, so they're doing that. That just doesn't mean that they're healthy, just because they might look healthy to you in a certain way. And that goes for what
And
Sarah
I
was
have
saying.
to say something else, because we've met so many girls. I mean, we've interviewed over 300 girls, and some girls come and say, you know, like, I have the opposite problem. Like, I can't gain weight. I am skinny. And like, that's not a bad thing to be either. It's who her body type is, you know? So, you know, her feeling bad because she's like, I can't keep on weight. My body just burns so much, isn't a bad thing either. So like, that labeling has to go.
The labeling. It's
Yeah,
the labeling.
It's the labeling.
I think we've made that.
I
I think
know.
we've said that
I
a
think
lot
we're
today.
being redundant.
Yes,
And you
we're
guys
being
are
redundant.
awesome. Thank you so much for staying on.
You guys are
Um,
amazing.
Thank you
I
for.
hope this was helpful.
Yeah, we hope this was helpful. If you want to, you know, again, if anything comes up in GroupMe that feels uncomfortable or you don't like it or sending a trigger, reach out to us privately, and we
Always.
will always like address it. And if you see somebody saying something like unhealthy, like I'm feeling depressed, or, you know, what do you do for bad moods, or I'm feeling, you know, whatever, and you see like that could change somebody's health, or affect their health, not like, oh, I like this new sneaker, chime in and say, ask for professional help. You know, feel free to use that platform to say, maybe you should seek professional help instead of just ignoring it. And yeah, this
And
is,
never
we're open.
be embarrassed to
Yeah.
reach out to us about something
anything.
like that, like Molly
Positive
did.
or negative.
Positive.
Or
I mean, we love positive too, but anything negative, we're here to learn. We admitted that we take responsibility. Sometimes we do mess up because it is a big platform, and sometimes we might miss something on GroupMe. I mean, I'm sure you guys do. It's just a lot. There's a lot there.
yeah, and even with the takeovers, I mean, we were just like,
Yeah.
oh, take it over.
Yeah,
And
so
then
that's
we've learned and we put rules together because
Yeah,
there were
because-
some unhealthy things that girls were saying that were triggering.
And that's what, Maddie, I was talking about with the lives, and we could probably get rules to that too. It's just we haven't addressed that yet, and it was because you're giving, you know, it's everyone's, like we were saying, it's someone else's opinions, and it may be triggering. And there had been things that we realized that we have to kind of make like guidelines for that too, and that's just why we kind of stopped it, because we're like, wow, we better get we've got to get that done. So that's something we could definitely look into too. But I think that was really interesting. And I loved it. And I love seeing you guys in your apartments and in your dorms. And I think that's a really cool aspect of
You know,
our
the
account.
girl who's doing it on Thursday actually has COVID. So she said, I could do the live. She's like, but I'm
in
stuck I'm quarantined. I have coronavirus. What do you think? And we said, no pressure on you. It's up to you. But I think that could kind of be cool and relevant. Like, this is what I feel like. This is what I'm experiencing. Don't be afraid. This is how I got it. You know, this is how I'm caring for myself at this time. So
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we'll see how she feels.
We'll see how she feels. She might not do whatever she wants.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I just want to say thank you guys so much for doing this. I think this is a really great idea. And like, I feel like when I started being an ambassador, I had different thoughts on like how I view food and myself and my body. Like now I have different views, and I feel like now this just makes me feel even better. Like I feel like I really understand more about what I'm a part of and like appreciate you guys and the community even more. So thank you guys.
You know what? We want to work harder to get that message out there more and more. And we appreciate that feedback, because maybe we've slacked off a little and on that point with the Founders Friday and whatever else, because, you know, it's a lot of energy and it's hard. And like we said, you know, just like everyone else, we can mess up. So we always love that feedback. And we're glad that this is beneficial, because I think that motivates us to say, you know what, this is really
We have to work harder.
the message is, no, it's important.
Yeah.
This was a passion thing for both of us, for real. It started like that, and we love it. We love it. But so, you know, if the message is, if we're helping and this is helping you guys, and this, and even just us, who cares, like that it's not everybody in the community. I hope that we recorded this, and maybe we'll figure out how to get it out there, because I think it would be beneficial for everyone to watch. But you know, that makes it so worth it. We're so proud of all of you. We're proud of
we
the
love you
community.
guys.
And thank
and
you.
if you guys can even, like, if you speak to any of your friends like Molly, who addressed you and said, like, why are you a part of F15 if you're anti, like, now you're more equipped to answer them and tell them what our mission is, and share it with other people, your friends and family at home. And like, yeah, we want this just to be something really helpful in the world and for other people. And if you guys can learn at this age, trust me, like, you'll be able to handle so much more.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Anything
this went so
privately,
long.
yeah.
Thank you.
Bye,
Be
everyone.
well. Take care.
Bye.
Like, not, she
Oh.
was laughing.